Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU and welcome back to Endless Legend, when we play as the voters in my next tutorial slash playthrough and dominate all our foes, because we are the Space Vikings of the North and South, East and West. We are here, we come from Auriga, and our destiny is to make it to Endless Space when we are a different faction. But that is yet to come. First things first, we need to kill everybody and achieve global domination, and I'll tell you exactly how. So yeah, it is the voters that I'm playing as, obviously. I promised that I'll play as the faction that you are going to pick as the majority, and funnily enough, the votes were equal. 6 people voted for necrophages, 6 people voted for voters at the time of recording, and as such, I had to actually be the tiebreaker, and I thought to myself, well, I really want to play as necrophages. However, necrophages have a very cool unit called Profilator that we talked about in the past. Let's select the necrophages for a second. It's, where are you? This guy, which doesn't work right now. I mean, it does, but it doesn't have its special ability implemented, which is kind of a bummer, and I really want to present the special ability once it is in the game. So I thought to myself, alright, so since the votes are equal, I'm going to hold on making a necrophages tutorial slash playthrough, preferably until this guy is actually fully implemented, because he's awesome. Look at him, he's adorable. I'd love to eat him. So, as a result, we're left with the voters, which are actually a fairly interesting faction by themselves. I may like them the least out of all factions, but they are still fairly cool regardless. And as such, I'm going to play as them and tell you a little bit about the Holy Resource and all of the other things. They have a fairly cool faction quest as well. All the factions really do have really cool faction quests, however. I can't really complain about any of them. So, let us decide on the region and world size. I will gladly go for the normal world size and for the normal regions. It worked kind of well for us last time in our Broken Lords playthrough. Obviously this time hopefully it will work better, because I want this playthrough to actually finish conclusively. Although keep in mind, before we go into this playthrough, if the devs find a way to remove the bug that plagued the previous run through of Broken Lords, fix it and allow me to actually continue that old run with my old saves, then I'll come back to Broken Lords. I'll play 2 factions simultaneously, probably like one faction in one day, the other faction in the second day, and so on and so forth. So maybe this will happen. I would be very happy if that was the case. Regardless, right now we're playing as the voters, and we also need to select our enemies. Necrophages need to be there. Obviously Broken Lords are also a must. I'm thinking about their color. Let's actually keep them the dark blue, because they are dark forces from the evil universe. And also World Walkers and 2 random factions. I'm a little bit wary on the necrophages, because they are the guys that broke my last playthrough, but I've seen plenty of people having the same bug, taunting them. So it's not just the necrophages, it can be anybody. Regardless, I think we'll be more or less okay, because this is a new save that I'm playing on. And also luck. I believe in luck. I believe in the lack of luck, to be more exact. And most of the time I have no luck whatsoever, but this time, come on game, it's gonna do me some justice. At least I hope this way. So, what are the voters? Well, they are, as I'm already mentioned, Space Vikings. It's a really accurate way of calling them that, except unlike the Vikings, they have some pretty cool technological advancements to their advantage. Not to say that old Air Vikings were dumb, but they were not exactly the scientific leading faction of Earth, were they now? Not exactly. They were cool regardless in some areas, kind of vicious and evil in other, but regardless, it's not the Vikings we're talking about Space Vikings, and that's the voters. So the main mechanic revolves around the Holy Resource, which has to be one of the strategic resources that are available to you as a faction. You have to be able to harvest it. I mean, actually you don't have to be able to harvest it to select it as your whole resource. You just, at the start of the game, now that we have loaded in, I can show you exactly. Those guys have this thing that is called Select Your Affinity Strategic Resource. It works as you might expect. I pick one of those 6 resources, and from here on now, those resources are going to be my holy resource, which I'll focus on entirely, and they will provide me with different sets of bonuses that I'll explain as we go along with this playthrough slash tutorial. Now, the choice of those 6 resources is actually very important, because depending on what you pick, you're going to play slightly differently. In the optimal scenario, you don't want to pick something you do not have access to. You need to pick something that you can harvest, and preferably something that you have a lot of. So this is why sometimes some players prefer to wait until Era 2 when Adamantine and Palladian are discovered, because maybe you are in an area that has not a lot of titanium and glass steel, but you have a lot of adamantine and palladian. Then you will be able to actually harvest one of those. Alternatively, you can go for holy resources as early as possible, even if you have a little bit of titanium or glass steel. You can still start harvesting it sooner than anything else, and as such you'll be able to use it faster than if you were to wait for a different era to start. I honestly have no real idea why people would wait for Mithrite or Hyperium. Firstly, they are not implemented. I mean, they are in the game, but you cannot harvest them because the eras required to actually harvest those resources are not implemented in this early access game, right at this point in time. They will be in the future. So you cannot even harvest them. So don't wait for those guys, don't select them, unless you are just trying to YOLO your way through the game. Anyway, with that being explained, as one more thing, your holy resource is actually also collected as a stockpile. It is unlike anything else really. No more factions collect strategic resources, and that's about it. They can use them for their items or items. Wow, that was nice English there, bro, and track of thought. But voters actually gather their holy resource as a stockpile. Aside from the normal luxury and food and industry and science stockpiles, those are also available, of course. So, what do you do once you start playing as the voters? Well, first things first, voters really love their science. They love it a lot. What terrain benefits science? Code, preferably with rivers. What did I get? Nothing of the sort, unfortunately, although there is actually a lot of science, and here is why. I get increased science output out of all areas that already provide me with some science. So as you can see, by selling somewhere over here, I will still gain a bajillion science, but no food. On the other hand, if I settle on a dead field, I will not have any access to science whatsoever. Some food, but no science. This is why those areas are not optimal for me as a voter player. Voters really like their snow and tundras, because snow and tundras usually yield food and science, which is exactly what you need as a voter, more so than anything else really. Rivers are also particularly valuable because if you remember from my other playthroughs, there are plenty of structures that can improve rivers in fairly major ways. There's something for food, there's something for dust, and so on and so forth. In general, you can get anything from rivers, and the more the merrier, so there's really no reason why you wouldn't settle on rivers. So first things first, actually, before we go into selling, there are also some minor factors we need to talk about. So, as usual, there are some factors that I consider to be better than others when you're playing as voters. First things first, Silics actually have a fairly good idea, because they allow you to gather your strategic resource faster, as you can see right here. Not only strategic, but also luxuries. Wait, what? No, only strategic, sorry, my mistake. Only strategic, but also I do believe in the holy resource or strategic resources, so Silics are not bad. As a unit, however, they kinda are similar to our Era 2 unit, which you can see right over here is the Titan. It's also a very big stumpy dude. So it's similar to the Harmonite, which is unfortunate because I wouldn't have much use of Harmonites. But still, their effect on my empire are fairly good. But what are other factions that I could be looking out for? What are other good factions? Well, Haunts are the best, because Haunts, if you remember, give you an empire-wide bonus to science, which is something I will need a lot playing as the voters, because they love their science. A different idea could be... I forgot the name of the faction. What was it? I'll think about it. I'll remember it in a second, I believe. So anyway, as you can see, also voters start with a slight different advantage. They have 3 starting fighting units instead of just 2 and a settler. So they actually have 3 Marines. Marines are not as good as the Rangers for the Wild Walkers, true, but this is still a significant advantage, and as you can see, those guys actually have quite a few abilities. They have Block, which increases their defense against when they are attacked in melee. They have Sharp Sense, which also increases their defense when they are attacked in ranged. So honestly, they just have defense increase all along. And they're also very effective against infantry, like almost any other, or in fact every other ranged unit in the game. However, they are still not as good as Rangers, but of 3 of them are fairly powerful. Now, As voters, you quite often suffer from the lack of dust. This is something you have to bear in mind, and as such you have to try and keep your army count to minimum, because each additional army you create costs you quite a significantly bigger amount of dust than just having one army with plenty of units. So for example, if you have a choice of having 2 armies with 2 units each, or 1 army with 4 units, go for the second option, because it will cost you less dust. And as voters, you may suffer on the dust front quite a bit, unfortunately. However, in the early game, scouting is very important, and with 3 marines we are able to scout very quickly and efficiently. And what did we discover? We discovered the Sisters of Mercy, and this is actually one of the 2 factions that I also consider to work very well with the Voters. Now the thing is, the Voters Titan, as you remember, and that is somewhere over here, right here, he doesn't actually have any special abilities other than Block and Warrior Slayer. He doesn't have any cool actives like Stun an Enemy, Destroys the entire universe, create biscuits out of thin air, eat them and restore health. No, they have nothing of the sort, they are just flat out big stumpy dudes. So you need something to keep them alive and give them a little bit more usefulness. Sisters of Mercy do exactly that. Not only do they increase your empowered health regeneration, in combat they can also heal you up, if I am not mistaken. At least I think they can. I never actually use them, I'll be entirely honest. I mean, I use them, but never as a unit. Still, I'm pretty sure that they can heal you up, and this guy can actually help your Titans a lot. Alternative to that are the Striders. No, Driders, not Striders. Driders. Those arachnid thingies? No, arachnids? You know what I'm talking about. Those guys can also heal up your units in combat. They're actually very good at that, but they also stun your units, which is actually okay, because Titans, even when they are stunned, they are still very difficult to take, to destroy, because they have so much health and defense. And with such powerful heal that the Driders can give you, those guys can just protect your more valuable units with very, very big ease. So yeah, those are the 4 minor factions that I consider to be quite worthwhile for the Voters. So now with that said, let us continue exploring, see what I can find. Unfortunately, even though I have 1 more movement, I cannot stop on a minor unit tile. A village tile, but what I can see is that there is actually some ice territory nearby. Now, high snow field is actually relatively bad, it only gives you food and nothing else. But I have trust that there is also some nearby areas that do give you science and food. Also there is a river, which is very good for the reasons that I explained before. It looks like a suitable city location, but it is quite far away and I do not want to walk forever, so let's keep looking, find a different spot. Over here, no, this is important. Scanning over here reveals the fact that this region I'm in right now already has some titanium in it, so it's a potential holy resource I could adapt. Good, it would allow me to get my holy resource early and give me access to some of my faction benefits very early as well. However, this area is quite rubbish in all things considered. It does give me some science and production, but to get to it, it would be a pain, and I cannot actually get to it. You cannot make city towns on ruins, and ruins block this area off completely. So it's impossible to go with a city from this area to this area. Fairly bad. But on the other hand, there's a dye deposit, and dyes, well, they look beautiful, don't they? Also, they have a really cool artwork. So there is a benefit to staying in this region. So, and also obviously Silex. There's also an anomaly, massive tree, not the best, not the worst either. It's something we can go for. So let us create yet another army for even more dust that I'm going to lose. And actually go ahead and scout west. What do I find? More deserts, unfortunately. There are some sandstone swirls. Now sandstone swirls are good, all things considered, because they actually do give you science. And the problem is that this desert that is undoubtedly in this region over there will give you almost no food. There is some food on this tile because of a river, there are some food on the water tiles, but other than that, no food. And as voters, you really need food and science, preferably some industry, and you don't care about dust too much, which is total opposite of anything that we have right now. So what do I do? Do I try to make a jump for the region on the right? No. It is a place where I can expand to later, so I would rather do that than risk going there right now and finding out that it's actually a pretty bad spot for a city. No, I can wait. Instead, I could settle where I am right now, which wouldn't be that bad. If I settle right next to the coastline, it would actually give me access to some source of food, a bit of dust, some production and science. Not very bad, all things considered, not very good either. Obviously, I can also consider selling next to the anomaly to gain some extra food and production for a lowered amount of science and production. Not production, just science, flat out science. So, with all of that in mind, what I'm actually going to do is actually move slowly south. I want to see what is over here. It looks like there might be some water, but more importantly, there might be some very important and powerful anomalies. If so, I want to know this. So, I think it's safe to say that no matter what, I can walk on this town. So let's walk slightly south and see that my region now consists only of trees and nothing else. Now, regions nearby, I can tell by looking at them slightly that they are also relatively arid, not very cold, so they probably wouldn't be regions I would want to settle in anyway. As such, the area I'm in right now seems to be the most suitable spot. Not the best, but honestly I do not want to walk towards the other one because it's a big mystery, a big risk, and quite frankly it would take me too long. So, now I have to weigh the benefits of this anomaly and some more studying science. Studying science is good, all things considered. Studying food is also very good. However, possibly even more so than actually studying science. Now, the thing is, when I settle my city, I also remove food from the tile I settle my city on. So I do not want to settle my city inside any of those wetlands, because I would lose the food they produce for me. So I will probably settle on one of those mountain rocks. The question is where. Do I want to have access to the anomaly right away? Well, then I will not gain anything from selling next to this manufacturing camp, which is annoying, unfortunately. Or do I want to go over here for a lot of science and also a little bit of food from all of those water tiles? I think this is the safest bet I have right now, and then I'll continue expanding left in the direction of this anomaly. So let's do just that. Now, my city has been settled. Unfortunately, we again have the graphical bug, which causes the grid to appear at all times. No worries, it's not a big deal. I mean, you can barely see the city, so I guess I will reload at some point, but right now it's not very important. Also, something that I'm not sure, I never pointed out, but it's fairly cool, that when you control water areas, you can actually see harbors and whatnot being created. Very nice work for from the developers of Endless Legend. Really nice work, Amplitude. I'm loving it. Although I have no idea why this particular thing is in the middle of the ocean, but whatever. It's actually a lake from what I see. Either way, whatever. So what do we want to make inside our first city, and what do we want to focus on? Food is the best bet right now. As voters, we can produce incredible quantities of science, but in order to do that, we also need to have quite a lot of population, and to have population, you need to exploit food. So it's a straight bet, just go for food, kids. What do we want as our first structure? Well, as you can see, we already start with the technology of... Where is it? There it is. We already have started with open pit mine, which gives us access to luxuries, and we also have public library, which gives us increased science. Both of these are fairly neat, however, none of these increase our food or production, at least not right now. So what we want to do as a voter is actually go for Founders Memorial. It's slightly cheaper than Public Library, it doesn't give you benefits that are in total as good, however it also increases your food and production, and in every game as voters you have no other means of doing just that, at least until you research applicable technologies. So Founders Memorial is a good way to go, but you also have to hope that you gain dust to buy it out. If not, you will need to stop making it to go for something else possibly. It doesn't happen too often, however, so just go for Founders Memorial and do what you can to make it work. Now, in terms of research, number one at all times is going to be a search party. As you can see, I can get it in 2 turns. I played quite a bit of voters, and I have never actually seen them unable to get the first tag in 2 turns. Maybe once, I think it took me 3 turns because I had a very unlucky start, but regardless, it should be able to get search party very quickly. And it's very important because, as I said many times in the past, it does increase your findings in ruins. And as voters, you'd rely on it a lot because you really will have problems with dust. And you really need some of those quests you can get in ruins as well. So you need to increase your odds of finding something cool. You really do. Because not only dust you can get from ruins, you can also get some strategic resources that you can turn into your holy resources. As you can see, there is no real penalty to getting the search party. What you want to go for next is actually up to you. There are several opportunities. Now, something that I've seen people recommend on the forums, and I can't exactly disagree, is the language square. It allows you to parley with minor factions faster, and this yields some very powerful results. Not only can you assimilate some nice factions that would help you a lot, but additionally, by completing those quests, you can gain access to some very powerful technologies. And the more technologies, the merrier. Also, you do need to parley with somebody in order to complete one of your factions quests, so that is something to consider. Now, a different option is, if you can make it work, then you can go for center of seas and rivers. It doesn't actually benefit rivers, amusingly enough. The name is very misleading, but it does benefit lakes, and I'm next to a lake, so it's not a very bad choice. However, right now I'm still far away from even making a library, so I can wait with that. What you want instead, most likely, is just going to be the seed storage, which is what I will go for, because you really need food. Food equals science when you play as the voters. You can actually... wait, that's fast. In fact, you can actually go for a very crazy expansionist build of 4 cities in 2010s. I've seen a dev do that. He had to brag about it, obviously. So it is possible, not necessarily what I would recommend, because you have some happiness problems very quickly, but you can do that, and if you start in regions that are very cold all around, it might be beneficial to do just that. But don't try it unless you have some more experience in the game, because selling too much as voters can actually, you know, penalize you quite a lot in late game. Now, what do I want to do with my hero? Let's have a quick look at her skill tree. As you can see, she has the standard stuff, so I can increase my speed, I can increase the odds of finding anything in ruins, which is obviously, as I explained, fairly nice. But what else can she do? Well, she gives me increased science per population in my city, which is nice, and she also gives me a slight defense bonus in my army. Not as useful, but it's still something regardless. But let's have a look at her special voters abilities. She can increase my science on districts. It's a flat-out bonus to science, and it's very nice. It requires you to build tall empires more than wide empires, because districts, in case you don't remember, let's show you right away, are borough streets. So it is easier for you to make a lot of borough streets if you focus on making a few cities with a lot of population than a lot of cities with few population. So this is why I really do not think that expanding like crazy with voters is a really good idea. Possible, but not a very good idea regardless. So this is one of the things that my hero can do. What else can she do? Well, let's keep looking. She has an ability that is work in progress, so we'll ignore that. She also can increase her own defense, she can increase the city defense, she can also move out of a city even if it is actually under siege, and she also can generate more science for trade routes. All in all, it is actually a surprisingly bad hero governor. Voters actually have a problem with that, because they do not actually have a good starting governor. Sure, it is a fairly decent idea to assign a voters hero if you want extra science from district, but if you remember in Rookery, once you unlock Rookery, you can actually also have access to heroes from an unreleased faction called Ardent Mages, and Ardent Mages hero are much better at generating lots and lots of science in your cities. So, all things considered, you probably want to assign your hero to your army early on, in fact, and also go ahead and spec into Indiana Bones, just to be that much more likely to actually inspect those ruins. So, let us assign our hero to this army, because there are 2 ruins nearby, and end our 10. That was a fairly lengthy 10-1, but a lot of explaining needs to be done, and I think that we did not waste our time. Now, on to the story. As always, you can pause the video at will and read all of this lore. It's a pretty cool lore. You actually are not a voter, you are rescued by them. You are this guy who, you know, well, look at him and think who he might be. Either way, it is actually a fairly cool quest, and it provides you access to some very nice things. First things first, we need to assimilate the Ursus, which is actually not what I wanted to do at all. I was really hoping this would have forced me to assimilate either the Silix or the Sisters of Mercy, but I have to assimilate the Ursus. I'll do that, however, if at all possible, I'll then swap them out for somebody else. Ursus, if you remember, give you a bonus to industry, which is the last thing I need. I mean, not the last thing I need, it is nice, but it is worse than many other minor factions. It is a little bit annoying because after swapping them out for somebody else, I'll never be able to assimilate Ursus again, and also it will cost me a lot of my influence, so this is another problem with this quest. All in all, this quest for the voters is very luck-based. You can make or break your game on the turn 2 if you are told to assimilate the right or wrong faction. It can get worse than assimilating Ursus, trust me. If you assimilate something like the tanks, well, that is bad for you. You do not need archers and attacks archers. And what are you going to do with vision from the tanks? Nothing. So you can get effed over quite badly with this quest. But you can get lucky. You can get lucky. Further on, however, the voters quests get very powerful. You, for example, get a building that requires you to use your holy resources to make, but once you do make it, what you get is actually the ability to ignore the food penalties in winter, which is great, especially in late game. So you do want to complete your faction quests relatively fast. Also, what is this? Oh, it's meteor fields. I have not seen those things a lot. Meteor fields are actually, well, look at them. They are exactly what we need. Science and production. Just what the daddy ordered. If only it had some more food, then this would be amazing. It doesn't, but it's still probably a location for our next city in the future. So we would actually want to go south instead of north. So I'm really happy I settled here, because otherwise I wouldn't discover those meteoroid fields until it was too late. Either way, one more tent to siege party, so I'm not moving those guys around. They are fine standing where they are standing right now. Let's, however, explore the area with my other scouts. So let's continue scouting the desert. I do not expect to find a lot. I thought Seratan, that's the other faction that I told you that we might assimilate. So we keep finding good factions to assimilate, but we are told to assimilate Ursus. Very unfortunate, but interestingly enough, this desert is not that bad for us. It does have access to Dragon Tree, which is an amazing looking anomaly. It has plenty of rivers, actually a surprising amount of food for a desert, a lot of science, a lot of production, some dust. A decent location for like our 4th city, I would say. Maybe not the best, but it's a decent possibility regardless. As for those guys, well, let's explore this area a little bit more. There is an enemy to the north of us. It's the violet color, so it could be anyone, hopefully not the necrophages. Either way, I do not want AI to know that I'm here, so I'll try to stay away from those areas. Also, I know that to the north of this region there is nothing that great. A bit of science and food, but nothing spectacular regardless. So let us end this particular turn. I said particular again, I said this in every video. Whatever. Siege party is finished, so now I can get to the meat of the game and start exploring the ruins. So, let's explore the first ruin, see what we get. An unfortunate quest, because it is actually going to require me to settle a new city, which is not what I was hoping to do right now. Because now what I need to do, keep in mind, is not only settle a new city, but also settle it in a region with Ursus nearby, because I need to assimilate Ursus in order to fulfill my main faction quests. Obviously, I can also wait and settle in a different region, but that would require me to make a 3rd city to settle near Ursus. 3 cities is going to on a little bit of a difficult bumpy road, because honestly I really don't think that voters should be played as powerful expansionists. They're good with 3-4 cities and staying this way for quite some time. They lack their tall cities more so than most other factions that are currently implemented in the game. Anyway, by completing this quest I would gain Starblade. 200 sword that requires glass steel to use, it's nothing spectacular, so I think I might actually ignore this quest completely, because the reward is quite frankly not worth it. Let's keep exploring for better quests. And I find nothing! Even though I have set party, that's just my luck. Hopefully though it will soon change. Alright, I'm not venturing down north, I mean up north, because this is where the scary people are. Golden Tree, interesting, I might actually play as the voters that actually have access to dust, which is unusual. But Golden Tree is a powerful anomaly, it gives you lots of science and lots of everything else, and especially obviously dust. And this area in general is absolutely amazing. There is a river nearby, so there is that. As I can see, it also swirls around quite a bit. There is some water, there is glass steel, and there are the meteors fields to the south. So what I think I'll try to do is probably settle like over here or somewhere here, to grab as much of the river as possible and venture south to the meteor fields. Now this ruin is a very unlucky draw, because it blocks any feed production on the tower it is on, which is why I hate the ruins right now in the game unfortunately, and cannot wait for the devs to fix them and actually yield some resources in the future. However, This is still relatively unlucky right now, because there are also mountains next to us, and mountains also do not yield anything. So, do I really still want to settle here? Yes, because the benefits I can gain from a river outweigh the penalty I gain from sitting next to the ruins. So probably I want to settle a city on this tile, right here. It would mean that I'll lose 1 food, but that's fine because I'll gain much more food from the rivers nearby. This is also a river, if you remember. This tile is still considered a river. And then I'll just swirl around to here. Also there is, I didn't notice it at first, there's also Black F, which is amazing from food standpoint and exactly what we will need in the future. So maybe I'll settle here, make a broad street over here later, and also expand to the south. Both options are an option. That was a weird way of saying this, but you know what I mean. More Systems of Mercy, so where was this supposed to be? Radalta. Alright, do you see Radalta anyway? Anywhere? Eames? No, I don't see Radalta yet. More players over there. It doesn't actually block loads, so that's unfortunate. This is not Radalta, we know that for a fact. So let's venture north a little bit and see if this is Radalta. It is... I have no idea what this region is called. Not yet anyway. So let's keep exploring. Are you Radalta, dear sir? You are... I have no idea. It doesn't tell me at all. Actually, does it? No, I can't ask the game where this quest is. It doesn't settle on a region. I just have to keep exploring, hope to find it, and hope that it is in a bad region. Otherwise, I'll just cry. Either way, I'm going to end my turn. I do not want to choose my strategic resource as of yet, because I have 1 titanium here, but I also have glass steel over here, so I will wait, I'll see what fits me more. I have time. Alright, let's explore some ruins. Please give me something nice. Dust is not bad, but it's only 40. It's fairly low drop. Not what I was hoping for, but hey, I guess I'll take it. More dice. So at this point I really want advanced extractors. Oh, also an enemy AI. They're all around me, aren't they? Delvers, not exactly what we need. In fact, the total opposite of what we need. So we're going to ignore those guys. All I know, this region is pretty nice. Eames, I'm liking Eames so far. Let's keep exploring with our hero. Try to stay away from the enemy AI, obviously, but do explore the ruins. So what do we get over here? Nothing of interest again! Come on, game, be fair to me. Why are you so cruel? Anyway, let's keep exploring. Are you Urses? No, you're Kazanji. Where are the Urses? They're nowhere to be found. I swear, this game is just taunting me, being like, oh yeah, you wanted to show some of the Volter storyline? Well, too bad. Either way, maybe I'll get a cool quest or a lot of dust. No, just 40. Only 40. I swear that my luck is like... I don't know, the bane of my life. It is, actually. Alright, what is this? Alara! Something Alara. It's not Radalta, is it? No, it's not. It's Ad. It's actually a D at the end. No. Where are the Urses? They're probably to the south, aren't they? Yeah, I have never seen this quest to give you something that is too far from a city. It's usually a region adjacent to your city. So, it's probably to the south. The only area I didn't decide to explore. Go figure. Anyway, let's finish the Founders Memorial right away. Because I can, this will increase my bonuses a lot and actually make me not lose dust anymore, which I was losing up to this point. What do I want to go for next? Science is good, dice are also good. In fact, I'm really tempted to go for dice first. They cost slightly less industry, and by assimilating a stockpile of them, I'll be able to use them more quickly. So even though I like Public Library a lot, and it is useful, I'll start with going for dice first. Then again, what if I get a quest to make dice? Oh wait, lure the quest out and then make the die extractor. If I get the quest, obviously. Alright then, let's end the turn again, continue exploring, hopefully find something that is useful. And no! For Crackaland! You again! Necrophages, the bane of my life. My favorite faction that just is like, oh, you didn't pick us? Well, now you're going to suffer. Oh yes, I will suffer, I'm afraid, I will. It's a hero leading this army as well, so I cannot possibly fight them. Well, I discovered them already, so might as well see what the region's all about, discover what is inside here, and look at here! I'm going to do exactly what I wanted. Yes, please, I will gladly now focus on getting dice first, because, as I said, it is actually going to be a fairly worthwhile endeavor in my eyes, so let's go for that first. And soon we'll actually gain also more population in our city, which is good. Let's keep exploring, stay away from the north if at all possible. Those guys, I'm tempted to kill right now because they cost me dust, but no, I will not do so. Instead, I'll continue exploring in this general direction, and I'll actually turn my hero around and explore the south, because I think that the Ursus are over there, and also I'll obviously need to defend against the necrophages, which are going to attack me in like 3 or 4 turns, probably. Maybe a bit more. We are still very early in the game, so they might wait a little. But only a little, make no mistake, they will kill me. Or try to, I'll not let them kill me, but they will try to kill me. Erekis, yet another minor faction that is not Ursus. So, just my luck. Either way, the enemy should have some ruins inside the territory. They also have some black dust. I really love this anomaly. I said this before, but I really do. Alright, my dear hero, you are just going to continue going down south. I will put you on auto walk from now on, and you just go this direction. I hope that there is a passageway that you can take. It does look this way. It is... oh, no, there is actually a river. I mean a lake. It will take me a while, won't it? Anyway, this region is actually fairly nice. It is relatively cold, has quite a few anomalies, including a happiness anomaly, which is very important for us, as it is actually for every faction. If you have an anomaly that gives you happiness, it's probably better than any other anomaly out there. You are stuck because you cannot walk through ruins. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Let's end this turn as well. This video is fairly long already, but I don't want to end it just yet, just because we can see a bit more action, I believe. So let's keep exploring. Try to stay away from this hero because he may want to kill my scouts. And there's the enemy city. And are those Ursus? No, it's actually Jotus, aka Athens. They're now called, but in game they're still called Jotus, so go figure. The enemy actually had fairly good luck. Geysers are useful for necrophages because they gave them what they need, that being science and production. And that's about it. And also they have chromatic land. Now chromatic land is actually kind of useless for necrophages because they lose this food bonus because of their faction trait. So all in all, it's actually not that good of a set of anomalies for necrophage players. So I kind of feel sorry for them. But then again, I know that they will be the bane of my life, so I'm not feeling too sorry for them. Also, it's so tempting to declare war on them and take over the city, but I don't have the influence to do that. Why or why did the devs think to balance early game out? Just kidding, I'm really happy you can actually do this kind of shenanigans. Anyway, empty again! Come on, luck! Where are you? Why are you not here? Why are you not helping me? Because it hates me, that's why. Alright. It is definitely not the area where I want to be. Enemy area is also nearby, so I think I almost discovered every AI in the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 including me. So now there's one more AI that is to be discovered, which is probably over here somewhere, knowing my luck. I mean, look at this map. It's pretty big. Everybody's close to me. Go figure, go figure. Anyway, I'll end this turn and wait to see what happens. Did I discover any more AIs? Not yet, so that's good. What kind of tech do I want to go for next? A very good question, I'll be entirely honest, but we do need to start extracting some strategic resources. So let's do just that. Honestly, having extra science is tempting, but I feel like we need to extract resources first. I forgot about the mill foundry. It's important, let's get it fast. It's even more important than the strategic resources. Now, I know some people would disagree, because you need to start exploiting a whole resource as soon as possible, but since right now I don't even know what I want to be my holy resource, I need industry bonus more so than the ability to harvest a resource that I may believe to be my holy resource in the future. Alright, the enemy already has necrodrones, very scary. They obviously start with the technology of necrodrones, that's why they can make them so quickly, but it doesn't make it any less scary. Fortunately, Marines... Wait a second. They're Night Slayers! Oh, that's bad. Alright, so usually, there's a mistake I made earlier in this video. I said something wrong. Usually when you have a range unit, it is supposed to counter infantry. However, Marines are not like this. They do not counter infantry at all, because Night Slayer does not give you a bonus to fighting infantry. Wait, I'm saying this wrong. Yeah, OMG, my brain completely exploded. No, let's try this again. Normally, ranged units are supposed to counter flying units and be countered by infantry. However, Marines work the other way around. Night Slayer means that Marines are very effective against infantry, but do not get the usual bonus for fighting flying units. Okay, there we go. Now I got it right. Wow, my brain just exploded. Alright. Well, which ruin do I want to explore first? Well, doesn't really matter. I'll need to swing back north later anyway. Let's go here first. And see even more Irakis and still no Ursus. Alright. No game. I'd like to point out that I did invest quite a lot of science into the search party. I would like to get some benefit from it and not just continue finding empty ruins. That is rather rude from you, in fact, and I don't exactly like it as a result. Also, I forgot. Right now the game has this slightly annoying tendency of putting you newly created, or rather generated walker into something that you're not walking right now. Back in the early days of Endless Legend, it was the other way around. You would get your new walker always assigned to the resource you were previously assigning your walkers to. So if I moved my walkers to, let's say, science, the next walker would also be assigned to science, which was cool. Right now it works differently. I do not agree with this change, but I couldn't find any support on the forums, so I guess we're stuck with this way. For the time being, at least. Maybe some people will see the sense. Or maybe it's just me that thinks that the current mechanic is worse than the old one. Whatever. Anyway, we finished our construction of dye, so now we can start dyeing our... That's bad. But anyway, we can start dyeing our clothes, which apparently is very important to us. We can also... You know what? I'm going to end this video because I think the game is trying to give me a message to go ahead and eat something, because it was a while since I last ate something. Oh, hey, Dust! Yeah, I think the game nodded at me right here. It said, yeah, Pancake, you go and eat something because you are hungry. I'll do just that. Thank you very much, game, for reminding me that I should do something of the sort. So, before I do that, I'll say my standard outro. It was PANCZASU, also known as the Mighty Mix Power. If you somehow managed to enjoy my video, then please, by all means, hi horses. Then by all means, please do leave a like, leave a comment. They help me a great deal in terms of popularity and also ego boost, and also I just like to read your opinions. They are also helpful, and I just like it. I like interaction above all. So thank you very much for watching, and before I end, what did I say about this quest? Not only do I have to assimilate Ursus, who I don't care about. Do you see the region I have to assimilate them in? No science, no production. I'll see you online. Actually, one more thing. I thought to myself, since I had a rather amusing fail when I started recording this video earlier today, I will attach a blooper reel, which is not really a reel, it's just a very short clip, so enjoy! Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU and welcome back to Endless Legend. This time, playing as the Vultures, the space Vikings of the North and South and West and East. They come from Auriga itself, and their destiny is to make it to endless space when they are a different faction. Yeah, so as I promised in the last video, I said that I would play...